Well,
Wow.
yes, just I'm just staying cool. I'm very cool. This is normal. This is what we expect. I didn't feel any emotions in this game because Joe Burrow
Oh my
didn't.
gosh.
He has turned us all into robots with the highest success arcs in history, and I
Not
love
me.
it. We're going to the Super
Not me.
Bowl,
My
boys. We are going
my
to the
heart
Super
is
Bowl.
beating. My heart is still beating so fast. I had to call my cardiologist. I
Joe,
am going nuts. I cannot
yeah,
believe this is reality. I was commenting before the show on Joe's tweet. Joe said,
yeah,
tweeted out, "Welcome by the way, Joe. It's great to have the good Berry on the show."
love
Eh,
him.
I will say, Joe's tweet encapsulated how I felt, which was, what was it? Are we dead? Right?
Are we dead? Yeah.
Are we dead? I wasn't sure if this is heaven or not. Have they opened up the
Yeah.
pearly gates? Is this reality
Well,
or a dream?
Joe, you are too young, I think, to remember the last Super Bowl, right?
Correct.
We remember the last Super Bowl, and I would tell you something. It was a normal Super Bowl. This is different. Joe Burrow, I mean, that team, there was a very talented team, deserved to be in the Super Bowl, deserved to win the Super Bowl. Okay. This team, Joe Burrow was getting, I mean, he had no time. He wasn't getting sacked. He wasn't getting hit that much, but he had to throw the ball in about a second, right? For the first half. We were down 21-3 on the road, Arrowhead. Mahomes is starting to look like classic Mahomes. And honestly, we defeated them mentally. Joe Burrow defeated them mentally.
And the
The
defense.
whole look at the body language of the entire Chiefs organization. Everybody was deflated when they were still ahead.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Even them walking off the field at the end there, they're as stunned as we are, right? The
Yeah.
Chiefs are as stunned as we are that the Bengals won. And it's not that we expected the worst, but you always had one hand on that wheel still, and they were down by 18, and the Chiefs were going to score with 46 seconds or whatever it was when they started that drive, a minute, whatever it was. And then somehow they got no points out of it at the 2 yard line. Clock
The
runs out.
sack. There was that beautiful sack
Well,
too.
I'm talking about before halftime.
Oh, before halftime. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
that could
yeah.
have been the difference in the game. And the Chiefs got aggressive and wanted to get a little bit more out of it. Didn't get settled for the field goal. Eli Apple made a stop, and you kind of were like, yeah, like this could be the momentum they need. This could be the spark that ignites the fire. And I tweeted right at halftime, like, the Chiefs only scored 3 points in the second half in that Week 17 matchup. I didn't think that would happen again. I just thought like maybe it could become a close game, and it did. And it didn't happen on the offensive side of the ball for the Bengals. They were okay. They were good enough to win, right? But
They
that
were solid. That
defense was
defense,
crazy.
that Lou
Yo, I
Anoromo.
yeah,
No, no, that Lou Anoromo. He is doing something in the locker room
I
in
want to
halftime.
know. Yeah,
Every
I want to know
halftime
from
game,
Joe. Joe, I
there's
want to know
some
what happened.
adjustment
Yeah.
that's
Go
going
ahead.
So
on.
I got to hear this from you. What happened where they stopped throwing deep? Tyreek Hill was not a factor. Kelsey wasn't a factor until that final drive. And you saw Mahomes looking for checkdowns. You saw Mahomes looking at his linemen. The pressure was getting to him every single play. The first half, it was the exact opposite. It looked like they almost scored a touchdown on every single drive in the first half, and it was easy. Like I didn't see Mahomes get touched. What happened that second half, adjustment wise?
Well, in the first half, this may seem oversimplistic, but the Bengals are just playing too deep, sometimes even four deep guys, just rushing four straight and playing everyone. Everyone's just standing there basically in their spots and saying, don't get beat deep. And the Chiefs just marched down the field, bang, 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 bang. Bengals played one single high safety. They got beat by Meacham down the left side over Chidobe Awuzie and on like their third drive, Chiefs' third drive. And it was like, yeah, they can't do that. And they don't do it again. So they're just sitting there playing deep zone, soft coverage, and the Chiefs are eating it up. And then the second half, the Bengals said, okay, we're going to play more man. We're going to press a little bit more. We're still going to keep safeties back because we still want to get beat deep, but we're going to put more guys in coverage, and we're not going to make it as clear on which four guys are going to rush. They're still only going to rush four, but if you put five guys on the line of scrimmage, if you show maybe six can come, and you still only rush four, at least it causes a little bit of confusion. And they did that. So they applied the same principles or what they wanted to do. They just did it in a different way, in a more aggressive way. And I think that's exactly what they should have done. I wonder, it kind of feels like they lulled the Chiefs in, right? Like, we're going to play this all game. We're going to play this
Exactly.
all
I was
game.
going to say
And
Yeah,
that.
then,
Yep.
it felt like a setup. Yeah.
and then every third down, boom, we're going to switch it, do the same thing, but it's going to look drastically different. And it worked every single time.
It's the classic Muhammad Ali thing. It was like they were wearing them out. And I tell you what, I watched those sacks with jubilation because it was kind of like it took a long time. Mahomes is running around and he doesn't have anybody to throw to. And then it's this most amazing situation where the Bengals end up with more sacks than the Chiefs, despite the fact that our O-line, and it wasn't cutting it. And I just want to say, I had a speech prepared for us to lose. I kid you not. When we were down 21-3 and the Bengals were down, I was like, okay, here's going to be my take-home message. Here's what Hoji got to say.
This is like the anti-Hillary Clinton over here. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So what I was going to say, the lesson learned is that Joe Burrow, with a bad offensive line, can take you to the AFC championships, but no farther. And guess what? He showed me that he can. But I do think that if next year this team, you get linemen from all over wanting to protect Joe Burrow, and I think that's what's going to happen. It's not a money issue. They're going to want to come to Cincinnati. I think we have a dynasty here, and I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah,
there's a lot of, but I think we have a dynasty here. I think if the linemen start coming, can you imagine Joe Burrow with protection? What the hell does that look like?
At the very least,
yeah,
it sends a message to the rest of the NFL that there's not just a Cinderella story this year. That
no.
Oh my God, they just beat the Chiefs, who have been to 4 straight conference championships.
I mean,
they're a field goal away from 3 straight Super Bowls. I mean, what you're saying is you finally have a team that may go toe to toe. They beat them twice this year.
Look, Mr. Goodberry, they say the word Cinderella.
I believe it's
team.
Dr. Goodberry.
Dr. Goodberry. But the thing is, I don't see the Cinderella at all. Look, this team has been down. They've been on the road. They've been against the first seed. They've been against the back-to-back AFC champions. They haven't been able to play their game. It's not like they got some lucky bounces. It's not like they got some lucky calls. It's not like they had a big punt return for a touchdown. It's not like any kind of freak points happened at all. They've been scoring less than normal. But this team has confidence. They have grit. They have mental composure. And the Chiefs did not. Someone tweeted, one of these NFL guys tweeted, like, I can't believe if the Chiefs weren't back-to-back AFC champions, I think that the moment was too big for them. It really looked like that. And they were
falling apart.
And they were
falling apart. The first half was not like that.
I cannot emphasize how much it feels like it was just Joe Burrow's demeanor, the defense's demeanor, and McPherson's demeanor. This rubs off on the other team. Another team is just afraid. They're afraid.
Yeah. We've seen the inverse with the 2011 through 15 Bengals, right? Like, it seemed like every big moment was too big for them, that they would crumble, that they'd play down to whatever the situation was, and just they can never step up to the bright lights. It could be regular season, obviously postseason, doing what they've done. But this team, you're right, they've got a bunch of cold killers, and they don't ever stop. We've seen this team down before. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter during the game, but when you are, and people are like, this is it. This is over. I tweeted at the one point, the Bengals need to score a touchdown here, or this could be over. If you go read those responses right now, and I think the score at that time was obviously 21-3. The Bengals ended up scoring the next touchdown, but they scored 21 in a row unanswered. But the responses are all, this is over. It's over. It's over. And we've seen this movie 6 times this year where the Bengals start slow and find a way to grind it out. And I'm with you. The Cinderella doesn't paint the accurate picture because this team is tough. This team is cold-blooded, and they will grind and claw through any type of situation, and the game is never over for them.
And there's one name that we didn't bring up, but I think merits bringing up, which is Zach Taylor. I was watching, I think it was in the 4th quarter or the 3rd quarter, and I can't remember what happened. It might have been it might have been a block, or it might have been a sack, but they panned over to Zach Taylor on the sidelines, and he had this smile on his face. And I thought, man, this guy's not nervous. And it was a tie game at this point, but he wasn't nervous at all. And we should give Joe Burrow all the credit, but there is still he is the coach, and the energy of the team comes from the coach. I'll never forget. Uzama basically said, "We win for Coach Zach."
Zach. Look, Zach has established that chemistry. He's got the team playing for each other. They love each other. You look at that defense, and I love how it's
and they stay cool.
They stay cool, and it's one player after another. It's Eli Apple one time, it's Mike Hilton another time, it's Von Bell another time. The whole defense feeds off of each other. Yeah. That is Zach Taylor. That's Lou Anarumo. That's coaching. But let's just say something. Let's be honest. We are in this Super Bowl despite the play calling and despite the offensive line. And actually, the two are related. Let me just say, Joe, you tell me if this is right or wrong. From what I understand, we're running on first down because we don't want Joe Burrow to get sacked 10 times. We're running on first down because we need that defensive line to settle down. We know we're not going to get more than a yard, but they're like, hey, maybe Joe can pick up 2 straight, 5 to 10 yard completions and we'll be okay. They were banking on that.
Yeah. Is that true, Joe? That sounds true to me, Joe.
I believe that's what it is. I think they wanted to protect the offensive line. You got to think, as a pass rusher, the things you hate the most are are running plays. I just want to rush the passer, right? You hate when the quarterback gets it out within like 2 seconds. Come on, you're not giving me a chance there. And you hate when teams run screens and draws and things that are just reverses, anything that give you anything to look at before you can rush the passer. So all these things the Bengals are doing, even though it's not gaining a lot of yards. And Mixon had a few runs today, actually, but consistency is more important, I think, in the run game. Yeah, that's the idea completely. Is to slow down the pass rush enough because you have confidence in Burrow that it's okay if it's 2nd and 8, it's okay if it's 3rd and 4, and it's the long game also. When you're facing a Patrick Mahomes, you want the clock to keep rolling. Look how that fourth quarter kind of went, right? Bengals got basically one possession, Chiefs got one possession. Both teams just controlled the clock, scored field goals each way, and that's kind of how the Bengals wanted to play it in terms of we don't think we can get into a shootout with a team that's not going to let us throw deep. So let's grind this game out, stay in it. If the defense can do what they thought they were going to do, which they did in the second half, this is the game they thought it would be. So yeah, like there's a lot of hindsight there because they won. We would have complained a lot about this game had the Bengals not have won, about the game plan of running on early downs because they're just not built for it. They're just not cut out for it. They're going to win because Burrow's passing the ball to these 3 stud receivers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, and the running backs. He got the running backs involved just the right amounts. And look, P. Ryan had a nice play.
Yeah.
Mixon had a couple of nice plays to keep some drives alive. And Joe Burrow had some nice runs. I mean, he did it by any means necessary.
He did.
Look, you look at the stats. Joe, you look at the stats, and it's 1 interception, only 25 yards rushing, whatever. 2. And I've never seen more misleading stats in my life. I just said, and I said this on Twitter, I don't know, but I really do think that interception shouldn't have counted. It's weird how quickly they moved on. I saw the ball moving around. But whatever, let's say it was a bad pass, regardless of if it was picked off or not. He threw one more bad pass on the sideline. And Tony Romo, of all people, who threw away so many important games, had the nerve to say, "Oh, what a terrible pass by Burrow." Like, dude, are you not seeing what he's working with here? This man is working with no offensive line. This man is working with no time and no escape.
And he was about to get
guys open. Yeah, and he said, "Oh, what a terrible pass." Like, I don't ever criticize Burrow because I know what he goes through. But the stats weren't great. But if you look at the clutchness and the timeliness and the fact that it's like when Allen Iverson would get 40%. He'd shoot 40%. They're like, "Oh, what a bad game." No, it's like that's all they have going on. And it was enough.
He made it. He created his own shots the way Joe Burrow creates his own plays.
Yeah,
I mean, this was really this for me. This game was kind of meaningful. I mean, very meaningful. I was for everybody, but Joe, you weren't on our show last week. We had a bunch of guys, former players from the Chiefs, and the way they spoke about our Bengals, heartbreaking. Yeah, I mean, they were putting down, what's it, number 22, Adobe? How do you pronounce it? Awuzie. And now to see that the defense was the X factor in this game.
How did he play, by the way, Joe? How did Awuzie play, in your opinion?
Tough assignment. I think 2 weeks in a row now. The book might be out that you can hit him with a little double move, and he's not the most agile guy. So that's something to look at.
The second half, I didn't see Tyreek doing anything.
No, and you know what though? Think about the 3 playoff games to talk about the defense because we kind of should for a while because I know we focus on the offense so much. But is there anybody on this defense that did not make a play this postseason? Can you think of one guy that did not make a clutch play when they needed it? I mean, you can go 11, maybe into some depth guys, 13, 14 guys. They all made a play at some point, and it's amazing. They're not here without him.
And Jermaine Pratt. Yeah. I mean, BJ Hill. BJ Hill, man. Yeah. Who would have thought that BJ Hill, and I'm not trying to put him down, but he was traded for depth. He was supposed to provide depth. And this man looks like a Pro Bowler out there. I mean,
that's team. That's coaching.
Yeah. The 2 plays at the end, the interception tipped by Jesse Bates, who tips it back to Von Bell. Bell gets the interception, but that is credit, in my opinion, to Bates. Bates makes an incredible play on the ball, but also Sam Hubbard, when they had that delayed blitz coming up the middle, where it turns it into a 44-yard field goal at the end for Mahomes at the end of regulation. To not get shook by Mahomes when you've got so much space between them two, and he just barrels down on him, forces the fumble. It almost ended the game right there. It was such an amazing play to happen at that moment because once Mahomes starts scrambling around, you're thinking the more time that goes with this, the worse it is for the defense.
You know what's fun? You know what I like about this game, Joe, is that there is about 3 or 4 plays that the game should have ended. There was the fumble by Mahomes. There was the near pick 6 by Eli Apple. Yeah. There was like 4 or 5 plays where you're like, oh, it's over. And we did pull it off. but no one can say we got lucky. I mean,
No.
this defense,
Bengals were in the driver's seat.
This defense
Bengals
went
were in
from
the driver's
0 to 10 in the second half. This defense went from one of its worst games to its absolute best game of the entire season in the second half.
Yeah.
And the offense never took off.
No.
But I mean, they're just not going to win those battles against pass rushers in the playoffs. They're going to have to find ways to work around it.
And among the things that I have to say, and I've said it before, I keep highlighting Evan McPherson, is that people were criticizing the Bengals for drafting a kicker so early, but wow, has he been the X factor for this team? How many games have we won because of that blessed foot?
Yeah.
Really, it's been amazing. You remember when the Bengals used to miss extra points, let alone 40, 50 yarders? Now we can count on them. And that makes a big difference. There's a critical difference when it comes to strategy.
No, I mean, obviously you see he's hit 4 field goals every single game this year, or postseason. I mean, just last week, I think, was the ultimate display for anyone who wasn't sure of why, if there was any people left at that point. But seeing Randy Bullock and the Titans had to kind of go for it on 4th down because they couldn't kick a 55-yarder. The Bengals would just trot McPherson out there and he'd probably nail it. I mean, the guy has money for the amount of people that aren't Bengals or aren't within Cincinnati's bubble to say, man, this McPherson guy is really good. Wow, he's the truth. Wow, he's really, he's got a strong leg. People are noticing that how good of a weapon he is. It's a weapon because you can be aggressive on 3rd and 7. You can be aggressive on 3rd and 3 from the 40 because if we fail here, it's okay because our guy's going to get us 3 points. And that's a huge difference.
It is. And and if you notice, there's so many games that we do win by 3 points. It must be part of the planning that, okay, here's what we do. We just get in range and boom.
Think of how many games that Zach Taylor lost 1-score games over the first 2 years without McPherson. Then you add McPherson to that equation and they start winning them.
Yeah. I mean, Joe, it is such a weird world we live in. I'm looking at every single signing, re-signing, Sam Hubbard. Every single move we made seemed to work. You know what I mean? And it's just
the organization's working now. It's really working.
It's strange.
We can't forget, though, for as long as we ask this franchise, please dip into free agency, please sign guys, please add some people, spend that money, Mike Brown.
Yeah, one right guard. And Reef, look, Reef might be good enough. He might be good enough. Maybe draft a right tackle, get a right guard, maybe a center.
The point is they did for 2 years in a row. They went into free agency and actually spent money.
Oh, right.
And you're playing in the Super Bowl. Vindication from our end of this.
This defense, This defense
is
defense is like one linebacker away from being like one of the top defenses in the league.
That's what I'm saying. The one thing, as I say, like I cannot imagine this team with a hardcore O-line. Wow.
I know. I think the rest of the league is saying the same thing.
I mean, we don't even need a great O-line. We need an okay O-line.
But if we go with great, then what?
Look, Mahomes had a great O-line, but it's just with Joe Burrow, he'll find a way. He doesn't need that time back there. Joe Burrow, if the game calls for him running, if the game calls for him throwing screen passes, he'll do whatever it takes. He's way ahead of any defense. And that's why we're here. 3 games in a row, 3 playoff wins in a row. And honestly, I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're going to do the preview on Tuesday.
3 decades. 3 decades. More than 3 decades. People made fun of us. We weren't wearing our Bengals gear because people were making fun of us. I remember wearing, I have this keychain for my Tesla. I got this key. And it's crazy. I walk around, people make fun. Oh, Bengals. Ha, ha, ha. No more ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha is from me now. I say ha, ha, ha to you.
Do you know how many times, Joe, on this show we've been laughed at for our predictions about the Bengals? No, I mean,
you mean for predictions?
Yeah, for my predictions. Every single week we get laughed at.
Yeah,
every single week. These former players come on, they say you don't know what we're talking about. This is like that and that like that, and every single week we were right. Every single week.
Listen, I was on here when we said 10 wins. Right?
Yes, you were.
And they laughed. They laughed in 30 points, and they laughed.
I think all of Twitter was like, "Oh, this Joe Goodberry guy, he works for the organization or something." All these conspiracy theories.
And if you guys have followed me or interacted with me for a long time, I am not this positive guy. I was positive because I felt very good about the team. That's it. Normally, if I feel bad, I say they're not going to be good.
Well, you were the most adamant about when we had the anti-Burrow, and I don't want to put anybody down. But I mean, we used to have a guy who put up pretty good stats, and it was a justification for not making the change.
Yeah.
And now we see the difference. It's not about stats. It's about wins. That's the only stat that matters.
Yeah.
So, Joe, question for you, Joe.
Go ahead.
Let's say we win the Super Bowl. Are you going to come on our show again?
Yeah, we'll do that. If we win the Super Bowl, then
Well, let me ask you
That's
another.
our deal. That's our deal with
Joe.
the devil. Not the
Joe,
devil.
hold
We're
on.
making a deal.
Joe, how much money do our fans need to raise to send all of us, including you, to the Super Bowl?
have you
With
looked
the-
at prices?
A
Because we're
sweet
looking.
30.
I think
30K.
50K should do it to send
Oh,
all
50
three of
that
us
would-
and John. That should be
that-
enough.
That would be that would about
First
cover it.
class,
It would be
though?
about 20 grand for tickets alone, maybe about 25 grand the way things are going. So yeah,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need accommodation, first class
Right.
plane tickets.
first class, right? Meals, money,
And
all
we
that.
promised to do at least a 10-minute show, both before the game and after the game.
Oh,
For
I'm
just-
going to hook up a
for the
camera
game.
to live stream the entire experience, so you will be
There
there
you go.
too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see if anybody sends you guys money. I don't think they will.
No.
But at least we know Joe's going to come back on our show.
Well,
if and when maybe we
I mean,
win the Super Bowl.
Joe,
How come
we have
before
some,
that?
We have
Okay,
some
even
very
better. Even
we have
better.
some pretty wealthy fans, Joe. I don't know if you know. We have some very wealthy fans. They just
Yeah, they
us
bought
Soji-
me a new
yeah.
mic. It's great.
Wow, well, that is very nice.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Patrons.
Hmm.
Well, okay. I think none of us have eaten or drank any liquids for the past 6 hours.
I've just
We're
had
so
my heart
anxious.
medication. That's about it.
There you go. So I don't want to keep Mr. Goodberry, Dr. Goodberry, on for too much longer.
I believe it's
So-
good. Brrr.
Kabrr.
Good. Brrr.
Yes, we'll. And look, we all have to. I don't know if I'm going to sleep before the Super Bowl. Is it 2 weeks away? I think I can make it.
I
without
think
the
you can
sleep.
get a few winks. Yeah.
Okay, but well, we'll keep you, up to date with all the Bengals updates. We'll see what happened to Uzama. You think it's a tear? It
They
probably
said
a tear.
MCL sprain.
Wow, he could be back.
Could
Yeah.
be if
Yeah.
he's Superman, but who knows? Let's
A
hope for the
sprain
best.
though. A sprain. You just shoot some
Well,
steroids in that shit.
right.
Sprain's
Exactly,
like what,
yeah.
2 to 4 weeks, right?
It is usually yes.
Yeah, I mean, I told Hoji, I mean, I tear my, my what is it called?
Meniscus.
Meniscus. I tear my meniscus every time I get out of bed. But I
Right.
mean, I'm
Yes.
different. I'm built different.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy.
No,
Good
I think,
genes. Good genes.
I think you're built like every other 35-plus-year-old.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
he's
I just keep moving on. I keep
Joe,
trying.
he's Joe. If you ever want to get down to his real age, he's a vampire. This man
Yeah.
is centuries
Oh.
old. Yeah, he sleeps in a coffin.
a lot
Think
of
it
secrets
looks
to my
great
health.
then.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I mean, a lot of secrets to my health. A lot of meat. I try to
Right.
avoid
It's disgusting.
any. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But and actually, the more preservatives food have, the better your skin is preserved. A lot of
It
people don't know
preserves
that.
you.
Yes,
That's not true.
Yes,
You-
that is
it's
a
not
trick.
true.
The
that I
ancient
learned.
Egyptians believed in that.
There you go.
I-
But look,
I'm-
yes.
I won't disagree with Joe, but
No, you
It doesn't
can't disagree
sound
with
true.
Joe. He's facts. He's all facts.
Yeah.
100%.
He said the Bengals are going to win 10 games and go to the Super Bowl. This man is on.
I didn't say that one.
Yeah, it's okay, Joe. No one's going to go back and check. That is all we have for Mr. Dr. Goodberry and for Dr. Hoji Dr. Gizmoji. I'm Daddy Maktouk. Thank you so much. We'll see you on Tuesday for the preview of the updates of the Super Bowl and the preview, I guess, the next
bow,
Tuesday.
bow.
Not used to having 2 weeks. Okay. See you next time. So long, sweetie. Pies.
chicka chicka.